Say, man, you're in a privileged position right now. You're in a place to be. Matter of fact, a place to G with the one and only S&OOP. So what you gonna do now? Turn that shit up and let it bang.
Everybody that you fight is not your enemy.
Trenches.
And everybody that helps you is not
Work
your
on your
friend.
free time. Nico Trenches, we train
And
online
that's
the
what life's gonna
line. Getting sacks on quarterbacks, you know we live. When you check that 45, keep your nose on his inside. Better punch something, keep your feet moving, dog. My 3 10 and 1 10, they some real hoes. My DN 6'5", he ain't got no flaws. Good grades, good feet, man, he got it all. I said crazy, he'll snatch something. Real aggressive jump, said he tryna grab something. If the old don't shoot their hands, you better jab some. You better stab some. More than snatch some. From the youth to the pros, we get it in. If you ain't watching film, you ain't trying to win. If he close the beat gap, then you gotta spin. If you get around the edge, then you gotta bend. I'm in the trenches where the lineman at. I'm in the trenches where the lineman at. I'm in the trenches where the lineman at. Where the lineman at? Where the lineman at? D tackle, do your dance. D ends, do your dance. Center, do your dance. Guard, do your dance. Tackle, do your dance. I'm in the trenches where the lineman at. I'm in the trenches where the lineman at.
Fucking bet against me. Bet against me. Tell me it's not gonna happen. Tell me it's gonna fail. I love it. I love every minute of it.
Welcome, everybody. Episode 43, Bushleague Sports. I'm stoked to be back for another one. I'll be joined, as always, by my beautiful co-host, Trav, No Sleep. And we're going to get into all kinds of stuff. It's dumping snow up here in Canada. A couple snowmobile trips. I got a sled broke down in the Cooley once already. We'll get into that a little later. If I rip a pack, some Panini contenders. We got a couple good ones out of them so far, so we'll rip that at the end of the show. We'll give that away to someone that's listening and has liked and shared this, so please, we're just firing up. Give it a share. Let's get the word out. We'll get into the Matt Eberfluss Thanksgiving breakdown. Horrible call. Gets him fired. Or was it a horrible call? I don't know. Want to break that down a little bit later. And just all kinds of cool things happening in the NHL. I didn't even say a word there. NHL and etc. But we're going to bring the man, the myth, the legend up. Trav, how you doing? What's going on? I'm stoked to be doing it again.
What's up, brother, man? What's up, dude? I'm rocking my my Goons World Dusters jersey, man. Coming to the side here. Just came in the mail this week. Stoked to rock it during some pickup games here in Dallas, but haven't played this week. Did get to coach some a little bit this weekend. Coach some mite hockey. Got the dub. Nice. Man, so it was my first time being in the locker room with some Dallas Stars players getting their kids dressed. So I'm sitting today dressing my son right next to Matt Duchesne dressing his son. And I'm like, don't look at him. Don't look at him. Don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. All right. Hey, man, have a good game today. But what was really cool about that is he's at his son's game at 1 p.m. and he's playing the Calgary Flames right now. So pretty cool seeing him in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, it's you think it's some crazy foreign life, but like, the fame and the stardom might be, but the rest of life is normal. They got kids, they got dad, they got to do the same stuff as we do. It's kind of interesting, and it's cool that you get to kind of intermingle with that being in Dallas and around the rink there.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy, and it's just something that I never experienced before, moving to Dallas. So last year was my first time seeing NHL players at the rink, where my son practices is the practice facility for the Stars. So Evgeny Dadonov was there.
I plugged him into my fantasy lineup and gave you a whooping this week.
Can I tell you today I went to go pick him up. I was like, I know. I was like, all right, who's available? Who's playing tonight? Who's putting pucks in the net? I'm like, Evgeny's putting pucks in the net, so let me pick him up.
Dallas Stars as I could into my lineup earlier this week because I knew I was playing you, and I was like, if I'm going to defeat you, I must do it with players from your favorite team. And so I yeah, I was
Have you looked at today at all? I'm feeling a comeback. I made sure I picked up
well,
3
maybe
today
we'll
to
take
get a
a
little
peek.
extra.
I know we're going to get into some fantasy hockey later, get everybody dialed in on some tips for their lineups and how to win their fantasy leagues and everything like that. So maybe we'll take a look later and see, because it's got to be coming down to the wire. The last game will be ending here probably in the next half hour, 45 minutes. It's our first time playing each other in fantasy. I thought I was going to get dummied because I literally kind of like, so Yahoo's, I hate to say it, but the app kind of sucks in the essence. Like you pick up a player and it resets your lineups. It puts guys on the bench and it does all kinds of wild stuff. And like 3 times this week, it did that, and I didn't really notice. I already had my lineup set. I picked the guy up. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna lose to my co-host because I got guys on the bench. So that when you told me you did that yesterday, I was kind of like, okay, cool. At least we got like 1 day back. But that's something you have to pay attention to. If you're on Yahoo, doesn't matter, football, hockey, anything. If you pick a player up, it like resets your lineup. Actually, it's not football, but it 100% does in baseball and in hockey. And
yeah, because baseball and hockey is an everyday type thing. Football, you're worried about Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays for the most part, where hockey is every day. And yeah, absolutely, man. I was smoking you. I think Tuesday I was up 11-1 or something like that in the different categories. And I'm like,
almost the Bushleague beatdown.
It's like, oh, it's gonna be a rough week. But coming into today, I think you were 8-4 on me. I was close in a couple categories, and hopefully I can bring it back. We'll see what happens.
I honestly didn't actually think I was going to catch you. I was surprised when I woke up today and I was like, oh shit, the boys went off. But I've held up strong on my Oilers and they're rolling. But we'll get into that a little later. I want to get into the Bushleague play of the week. We're going to give me a second to set it all up on the screen here. I think I got her locked in. But I guess it's not of the week. It's of last week, getting into the Chiefs play with, them getting the voodoo magic win. But I want to see if I can get me and you on the old stage here. This is going to try to play. So 1 sec. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's working. Oh, here we go.
Has no chance other than to work his mind to stay sharp in this game and flawlessly moves this offense into field goal range.
It's absolutely wild how the Chiefs just win games.
Yeah, no, like, and so that play there too, and the center, obviously, the rookie center snaps that early, something set him off, but it's like, or did the Illuminati pay him to do that? Which one was it, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Ooh, I'm hearing myself echo. There it is. The Illuminati for sure. There's something going on here this year with the Chiefs. There's something going on, and it's nerve-wracking. It's scary. The blocked field goal against.
I want to hear the call here. 1 second.
The Chiefs need to recover the backwards pass and take over first down. On top of it. Wow.
So I know there's like all kinds of controversy about that too, right? Because they're like, they switched the call and et cetera, et cetera. And I know we'll break it down once we see the play all end, but they're like, oh, they switched the call to give to him. Now, obviously, that's not true. The right order of events happened in the call, right? But it's just he's looking around. Something set that guy off, and he's out looking already. And there goes. There keeps the Chiefs' perfect season.
Yeah, absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. I mean, obviously they lost to the Bills the other week, and the Chiefs just when they win games, they've been winning close games to bad teams this year, and that tells me the playoffs. This is probably the end of the Chiefs' run. I don't think they're hitting 3 in a row, but this play was something out of this world, that's for sure. And the pundits on all of the news stations here in the U.S. are really leaning into the Chiefs and whatever they have that's pushing them over the edge in these tight games, again against teams like Carolina, against the Broncos, who have turned their season around. The Broncos were looking a little rough starting the year, but now they're looking pretty good. Now the Raiders twice, the Raiders twice
earlier, and I sorry to interrupt you, but the blocked field goal on the Broncos too, which was just like absolute straight up. Like that one pisses me off because, like, again, it was a clean block field goal. Never should have happened. Should have been no pass interference on the play before. Never even should have been the way it went. But that's Bushleague play of the week. Is just that you got to have communication. You're 2 points up or 2 points down on the Chiefs. Last second, you can't screw that play up. And I mean, the pressure's high. I get it, but man, that sucks. Like you said, though, they're just barely beating these not that great teams.
Like you said, the young center, quarterback that doesn't have a lot of starts in the NFL. I mean, it is what it is. High pressure situation. Hopefully they learn from it and they come back stronger later this year and into next year. The Raiders make me nervous. Hopefully they can turn it around and do something.
I'm with you. Well, let's get into week 14 scores. Woo! Let's break it down. Let's see what we got. We get 5 minutes on the clock, if I recall. Let me see if I can find the right setting here.
Oh, man, I love it when we're timed because there we go.
Go, baby. Well, let's get into it.
All right, first game of the week, Thursday, Packers-Lions. Packers gave them a run for their money a little bit there, huh? The Lions have just been mauling teams. That's what Lions do. They maul teams, 34-31. A good fantasy game all around for Gibbs, Montgomery, Jacobs. It was
both. They got to keep it going. I'm hoping for fantasy, they carried me through last year, and this year they're doing it again when it counts. But it just such a balance of power in that game. Both 19 fantasy points. One got a receiving touchdown, one rushing touchdown. They're just leading into the Sonic and Knuckles too has been kind of funny to see. Have you seen them kind of playing their character up?
So I had no idea about that. I had no idea about the Sonic and Knuckles until somebody told me the other day, and I thought it was great. It was actually what is his name? Mir Frank that came on the show with us. Kind of leaned into it and told me about it. So I love how they're leaning into it. I love how Nike has the shoes for them for it. It's a great story.
Nice. Well, how about your Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns?
They needed that. The Steelers needed that comeback after getting dummied by Jameis Winston in Cleveland a couple weeks ago on Thursday. Came in, made easy work.
Jameis Winston, though, and Jerry Jeudy looking good down the stretch. There are some fantasy weapons. We'll touch on that a little later, but they are looking good, and they haven't let up for 3-4 weeks. And I mean, whatever they're doing, they can keep it going. And I think they're a good play the next couple of weeks. They're just looking good. Whether they win or lose, they're going to get you fantasy points.
Jameis Winston has done so much for Judy's career. Judy, kind of fizzled out in his later years in the Broncos organization.
The Broncos were going to regret it. I knew they would. I knew, they gave him up. They drafted him with the first. They give him up for a 5th or a 6th when it was their own fault. He wasn't getting the ball. And now you got Bo Nix there, and I could just, the future could be bright, but he's gone. And wish him the best because I don't think he did a single thing wrong in Denver.
Nope. Moving on. Giants Saints. I don't know if you saw this, but Giants got the ball end of the game, blocked field goal block tipped, whatever you want to call it, by the Saints. Giants were going to tie it at the end. So Saints pull out the dub in New York.
Low scoring game too, right? 14-11. Jets Dolphins again, just no wins. Whether they're MetLife on the road doesn't matter. New York is not looking great this year, but
Jets are officially eliminated as well. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine because Dolphins needed one. I think they lost last week in the Thanksgiving Thursday game, if I recall. And I don't know if they're really going to be able to make much of a push this year. They're not looking as strong as I thought they would be, but a big win for them. They needed her.
Yes, sir. Jags Titans, bottom of the barrel game here. Titans D putting up some points for me. I had them in 2 leagues. They put up some points over 10 in both leagues.
Both teams, and I played it wrong. I'll be honest. Last week going into it, I was of the impression of both teams suck so much that they're finally going to score a bunch of points. And I actually wandered away from both of the defenses because normally those are 2 teams you're playing defenses against. And it seemed like either one would be a smart play. But I was just like, maybe they suck so much that they score a bunch of points on each other. And I was absolutely incorrect.
Yeah, absolutely. that was a wild one, short one. Tennessee's D has done pretty well all year in fantasy points, so I'm looking to stick with them as we move through the rest of the season. Vikings
double up the Falcons 42-21, big win, and Sam Darnold just keeps doing, I think 36 or 37 fantasy points. Hard not to when you got the probably best receiver in the game out there catching the ball for you. But we're pushing the clock too. But that's
no worries. I'm liking talking about this right now. Kirk Cousins, 0-4 in his last 4 starts, 0-8 touchdowns to interceptions. So I don't know what's going on with Kirk Cousins. At the beginning of the year, he looked real good. Now he is trouble city.
That's the Bushleague stat line, if I've heard of one.
Absolutely. Eagles, Panthers.
Kind of honestly surprised to see the Eagles only win by 6. He just really thought that they were going to absolutely crush. Like I thought it was going to be bad, but props to Carolina for putting up some good defense.
Absolutely. As we've talked, the Eagles are going to be the ones that give the Lions the run for their money in the NFC. So you want to see more out of them as we finish out the season. Bucks Raiders.
Yeah, big 28-13 win. Again, I think we touched a little bit on it earlier, but yeah, Raiders not getting a whole lot done. Bucks, Mike Evans hopefully push another 1,000-yard seasons. He's done 10 in a row. I want to see 11. It'd be amazing. Like every year, he's never not had a 1,000-yard season. It's an insane stat.
Especially this year with the injury, and he was out a couple games. You know, if he can get it this year, it's going to be unbelievable.
Seahawks Cards. I really not impressed with the Cardinals, probably because I had first overall pick with Dynasty and I took Marvin Harrison Jr. and I'm not getting 20 points a week out of him. So overall, just not impressed with the entire team because of it, but they got to get it going.
Marvin Harrison was going, you know, top 10 receiver in some leagues, you know, overall. Right. So
first pick in our Dynasty rookie draft, I took him number 1 overall over Caleb Williams. And honestly, Caleb hasn't looked that great, so I'm not crying about it yet, but man.
Sure. Bears, Niners. Bears stat line early was rough. What I saw was like 2 yards for the Bears to like 310 yards for
maybe it wasn't the coach, and we'll get into that a little later because I think I got a different opinion than most people on the outcome of that play that got Matt Eberflus fired. But 49ers, I don't think I was hoping to see them come back, make a big run at it, look as dominant as last year, do their thing. But I honestly, I don't think Christian McCaffrey takes another snap in the NFL. I could be wrong to say that, but that is my thought. I think that if you're fantasy, etc., I don't think you trade for him. I think if he's truly got this tendonitis that's kept him out half the season, he's going around the globe looking for advice on it, and then only could play 4 games and go. I do not. There's a good chance he retires, and respectfully either way, but I just don't know if we see another snap ever out of Christian McCaffrey. Let's put that on big screen so we can clip it properly. Let's get the SIGs off it. I do not know if Christian McCaffrey will ever play another snap of football again.
That's a wild take, man. That's a wild take, especially all of the lead up into this year, the number 1 draft pick in every single fantasy league that has ever happened. This season, Christian McCaffrey was that number 1 pick. And for that to happen, that'd be devastating for him, for his career, obviously, to go out like this, losing the Super Bowl last year. And, great player, but if he's looking out for his health, that's what matters. And good on him for that.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say too, like I had the opportunity at VCon this year when I was down in LA to sit down and chat with Todd Gurley for a little bit, like 5 minutes. He was super kind dude, kind enough to give me a couple minutes of his time, and we chatted a little bit of fantasy football. I think he got rattled at me at the end because I was like, "Oh, will you make a cool video for me?" And he's like, "Hey, get out of here, dude." And I was like, "I practice." But no, he was like so kind with just kind of explaining his thought process on like you got a life to live too. Like, especially when I sat down with him, he was a new dad. And I know as a dad of a little girl, you want to be there. You want to be a part of it. You're a dad. You know what it's like to be a dad. And he's like, health kind of comes first. It is a priority. And as players, we also know when it's time for us to maybe walk away before we're going to get too hurt, as opposed to, maybe the fans that are sitting there yapping and sitting on the sidelines. And so whatever decision Christian McCaffrey ends up making, whether he stays, whether we've seen the end of his career, I mean, it's going to be the right choice because it's his choice, right?
I agree. I love that take and taking it back to, seeing Matt Duchene in the locker room today and getting his kid ready, and then seeing him in the stands watching his kid play hockey and how he had his daughter on his lap and how excited he was as that team won with like 10 seconds left in the game. Somebody scored and just seeing, he wasn't jumping up and down screaming, but he was excited talking to the people around him. And it was just cool to see. And yeah, these players, they're way more than just our fantasy rosters. They're real people out here living their lives, and whatever he needs and whatever's best for him and his family is what's best.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess the last game on that list before the one live, 44-42. What a game. Huge game. I'm surprised to see the Bills lose, to be honest, but the Rams are fighting for it. I guess they do have a chance to sneak in if they play it out really hard to the end. So crazy win by them, and just what a showing by Josh Allen. 3 rushing, 3 passing touchdowns, first ever in history. He's like setting all kinds of first ever in history. He's just a machine. Like 50 fantasy points. We'll touch on that a little later, but Wow.
He
That-
is the MVP. If anybody beats him out for the MVP, I mean,
look-
who? Saquon, who else? Eh, I don't know.
I agree with that take. I think that I think he's MVP. I think you're absolutely correct.
I think that if somebody else wins the MVP, man, they're going to have to just have a huge showing these last couple of weeks. And Saquon Barkley's the only one I think can pull it away. But who?
Lamar. He's been
Oh,
pretty.
yeah. Great point. But man, what a wild week of games in the NFL. And it is what it is. I guess you're right. We got that. We still got one. We got one going on right now. Chiefs putting a blanket on the Chargers right now.
Yeah, not a big scoring game. What do we? Third quarter, 3 minutes left. Obviously, we're in here not watching the big game. Like, we suffer for the people. Me and Trav, we give up our Sunday night on the couch watching the big game, taking it in, just relaxing to make sure the people have the information they need for their fantasy week. I mean, what more could you ask of a guy, right?
So get this. So this happened to me this week, and this happens to a lot of people. Well, Lad McConkey, rookie receiver for the Chargers, got ruled out maybe an hour and a half before the game started. Adam Schefter on his Twitter was the first one to announce it that I saw, and then we got the update in the Sleeper app. I was running Lad in my flex spot because it was the Sunday night game. I did not have him in a traditional receiver spot to give me more room to move players around. I was luckily able to pick up Palmer as a last minute replacement. Palmer, I think he's had a couple catches so far, got me some points, but definitely be mindful of those last minute outs and be ready to make a move. That's why I think it's good, as we've talked, having your Sunday night or your Monday night game players in your flex spot if you're running them.
I love it. No, then that's always a smart move in fantasy for sure. So do you want to get into, we kind of blew the clock on the other one. Do you want to get into a 5-minute run predictions this week? I don't have the ability to pull it up and put the clock up at the same time, but we can run the timer and we can go through them. I'll name the team. I'll name the game. You give your prediction.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get it going. We got her bumping up top. Let's get this coin out of there. Shouts up, bam, bam, boxing. We're going to get her buzzing here tonight. So now, Rams 49ers.
Yeah, I think the Rams after the game this week, they're going to be riding high on that momentum into the Thursday night game against the Niners, who are injury ridden. I like the Rams in that game.
I'm gonna double you. I'm gonna take you on that. Not a bad call. Commander Saints.
Love it. Commanders, needing some wins to see if they can lock up a spot in the playoffs. They're in the hunt. Easy win over the Saints.
I'm going Saints at home in New Orleans. Let's go to Bourbon Street, baby, and get her buzzing. Chiefs, Browns. Jameis Winston going to have one. Do you think it will be the greatest all-time pregame speech or not?
I think every week for Jameis Winston is the greatest, most obscure pregame speech of all time. Each week it gets better and better. I like the Chiefs in this game, but it's going to be a wild one down to the end. Pick six at the end of the game for the win.
Ooh, pick six at the end of the game. Okay, we got to clip that if you pull it off. Remind me because I won't remember. Bengals, Titans. Titans at home.
Yeah, got to be the Bengals.
Last week? Oh, really? You're not confident after seeing the 6-point performance?
No, got to be the Bengals for the win this week.
Do you want to know why the Titans scored 6 points this week? Would you like me to explain it to you?
Yeah, please do.
So I've watched Westbrook, their second receiver, and the Titans catch 1 or 2 touchdowns for 10 weeks straight, right? 10 weeks straight. And so I decided this week, you know what? I'm going to bench my dude I've been rolling with for 10 weeks. I'm going to bench Jerry Judes, and I'm going to fire up Westbrook. Well, they don't even the whole team doesn't get a touchdown. Why? Well, it's because I decided to start a guy from their roster. So you can all blame me. I apologize. I broke the streak. I finally started Westbrook, and it all came to a bitter halt. I'm glad I wasted half our time on that.
No worries. All right, so I'm saying Bengals win. I'm saying Bengals win next week, but Bengals still got the Monday night game against the Cowboys tomorrow, which is going to be an interesting one. I think that one's going to be a little bit closer. However, Bengals should be a blowout, hopefully, for the Bengals. I got Jamar Chase in a couple leagues.
I got Bengals losing tomorrow, winning versus the Titans.
I agreed on both of those. Moving on to Dolphins and Texans.
Yes, baby. We're gonna see like CJ Stroud is on the sophomore slump. I think he'll be back next year. I think what we've seen in the first year was real, but we'll see how it goes. But I think it's gonna actually be the Dolphins. I think they're pushing. I think they're running, and I think things are ticking.
All right, I'm gonna go Texans in that one. I got Mixon for 2 TDs.
Ooh, Mixon for 2. I like it. And I got a sweet clip about Mixon coming out maybe later in the week because I think he's a guy that's going to be carrying people to their fantasy championships.
Absolutely.
Ravens,
hopefully this guy.
we don't even need to talk about it. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's going to run all over them. Jets, Jaguars.
I don't even care.
You don't? Oh, okay. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I don't even care. Jets, Jaguars. Who cares who wins?
Yeah, okay, fair. Cowboys, Panthers.
Cowboys got to have that. I think it's going to be a close one. But Cowboys got to have that one.
They do. Are we seeing? Were we going to see some huge games out of CD Lamb down the stretch or not? Is he a guy like? It's hard. That's a guy that's going to be tough to fire up in these playoff weeks. Some weeks we'll see what happens this week to really determine it. He had an okay week the other week with Cooper, but it's a lot riskier than Dak.
Well, he's not. I mean, you're not playing anybody in place of him. So if he's on your roster, you're starting him. Unless you're in like a 6-team league. If CD Lamb's on your team, you're starting him. So it's
well, we got 1 minute, 8 games. Bucks.
I'm going Bucks. Especially if Vlad's out. I'm going Bucks.
Colts, Broncos.
I'm going Broncos. Look
at him make the video. You know that guy that makes that video, the Colts videos, like, this is our team. I'm making the video. The Broncos are the superior horse. I will waste time and we will rush the last clips. I don't care. Broncos are superior horse. You silly Colt guy. I didn't want to call him a bad name, so I went with silly Colt guy.
Broncos at homes.
Yeah, Broncos for sure. We didn't even have to do that.
Patriots, Cardinals. I'm going Cardinals.
Cardinals, Bills, Lions. Ooh,
Bills.
Game of the year, Lions. Steelers, Eagles.
Oh, I got to go Steelers, but that's going to be a good one, man.
Eagles, Packers, Seahawks.
Packers
as well. Bears, Vikings. Vikings, Falcons, Raiders.
Black and
Kirk Cousins going to get the win finally. We did it in time. Look at us go.
Dude, I'm getting over a sickness right now, man. Or not even I'm like in the middle of a sickness. So sorry if I'm like rubbing my nose and muting my mic, going off to the side. I'm hurting. I'm hurting.
Yeah, we got that. No, okay, but honestly, that wasn't even going to be part of the show. We should make a Broncos theme song, and release it before he releases his Week 15 Colts Broncos. Like, we got to get the edge. We got to, and you know what? Like, bro, he edits in his nay every week. I see the chair appear every time. Like, I'll run a fresh nay every week. You can't just be a recycled horse around here.
Oh my God, I love it. Those are absolutely hilarious. And I think you could do better. I'm actually confident. It's not even a think. I'm confident that you could do better.
I think I'll whip one up. Maybe I'll sit down. I'll get in the lab here and I'll whip out I'll put on the headphones like he does and I'll whip out this is our Broncos theme song.
Love it, man. I can't wait.
All right. Well, what we need to get into this week, you're the man, you're the smart one. We're going to get the people locked in on what's going on with the college football this year. Obviously, as a Canadian, I'm not nearly as intelligent as you in this section, but I do want to learn a lot more about like the college football realm. So I'm excited to dabble into this with you a little bit and see what we learn. I made a view
for
that
sure.
we can hop in here. Here she is.
So this week was championship week in college football. That means the SEC championship game happened, the Mountain West championship, the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, all the championship games happened this week that had a defining effect on the college football playoff. This year is the first year that it's a 12-team playoff, and the winners of those leagues went into the top, 4 spots, top 5, top 6 spots for the playoff. It was an absolutely wild week. There were some games that were unbelievable. Games going down to the wire, games going into overtime. The first one I want to talk about real quick is the SEC championship, Texas versus Georgia. Georgia had beat Texas earlier in the year. Texas had like the number 1 spot in the standings for most of the season, early in the season, actually. And Georgia knocked them off that high horse they were on. So they met again in the SEC championship game. Texas really came out to a commanding lead. However, in the second half, Georgia's QB goes down. Their backup quarterback comes in and shreds Texas's defense. Comes down to the end, ties the game. Some of the takeaways went into overtime. We talked about college overtime. It starts on the 25 or the 30. If you make a field goal and the other team scores a touchdown, it's over. It goes back and forth until somebody wins, essentially. So if you make a field goal, other team makes a field goal, you get the ball back. If you make a touchdown, other team has to make a touchdown.
Yeah, you
that's
get a chance. That's kind of
Exactly.
the difference from the NFL is you get that chance on if they get a touchdown still.
Exactly. Now, a couple takeaways. Florida.
In Canada,
Texas,
we just had 3 downs.
Texas went, didn't move the ball very well, kicked a field goal. Georgia came down, scored right away. Georgia had really picked it up in the second half. But a couple key takeaways were Texas's QB Ewers. He is supposed to be one of the top QBs off the table in the draft. Really performed poorly in the second half of that game, performed poorly in overtime, just could not perform under pressure. Right now, Arch Manning is his backup. There's all kinds of questions happening. Are they going to fire up Arch Manning for the playoff, for the Peach Bowl, against
When's he going to the NFL? I've been stashing first-round picks in Dynasty, like hoarding them forever, just kind of waiting for Arch.
Arch Manning's still a couple years out. However, yours is coming this year, and I'm sure some NFL teams are a little bit nervous about picking him up after that performance.
Shadir, or is that Travis Hunter? Who's going?
I don't know who's going first overall, man. We'll have to dive in a little bit deeper on that as we end this season and we get into our draft specials. Yeah, we're going to do some draft specials this year, but very interesting game. Texas lost. However, Texas still holds that number 5 slot. They're playing number 12 Clemson in the first round. Clemson beat SMU, the Ponies here in Texas. They beat them in a very interesting game. I want to talk about that one real quick because SMU came out, played poorly early on, but SMU was the better team for the latter 3 quarters of that game, made some poor mistakes, but then they came back. SMU's quarterback Jennings really drove them down. They scored a touchdown with a minute left in the game to tie the game, man. We thought we were going to overtime. That did not happen because on the ensuing kickoff, Clemson's player ran it back to somewhere around the 50, quick pass, field goal to end the game. Clemson won that, but luckily enough, SMU got the bid from the college football playoff team selection committee and made it into the playoff. That was really unexpected because it was between them and Alabama. The committee was the one that made that decision for SMU to go. It wasn't.
I guess Alabama, from what I know, I don't follow this closely. They lost a game or 2 to some teams they should have beat. Correct.
They lost 2 games to 6-6 teams. 1 game to Vanderbilt and 1 game to Oklahoma, who they got smoked by. However, the argument can be made that SMU played stronger teams throughout the year that Alabama played stronger teams than SMU. However, SMU's performance in that game with Clemson, I'm 100% sure locked up their bid in the college football playoff. By the way, the committee for the college football playoff was meeting at the Gaylord Texan in Grapevine, Texas, which is 30 miles down the road from SMU. So I don't know if the SMU fans went to the Texan and like rallied outside the Gaylord Texan until they called SMU in the playoff. But it was an absolutely wild one. The other games that happened that week or this weekend were Penn State and Oregon for the Big Ten championship. Oregon won that game pretty handedly. For the Big 12, it was the Iowa State Cyclones versus Arizona State. Arizona State sitting at that number 4 spot. They're going to be interesting. They haven't really played a really tough schedule. So getting Clemson or Texas in the second round after their bye is going to be a tough game for them. Tennessee's a great team. Ohio State's a great team. I'm excited. This is going to be a great college football playoff. Again, first time we've had 12 teams, and this will be the first year that people can really see who the best team is in college football. The 4-team playoff just did not do enough. This is going to be great.
No, I always kind of thought that was intriguing that they only picked 4 teams. So I like this. I think this is intriguing. You get to see a little more because you can come in from anywhere in the country, right? Like obviously there's probably certain divisions and stuff where you have no chance to come in because they're not like good enough, etc. But there is quite a few different, how many different college football, I guess, leagues do they pull from into here roughly?
So there's probably 5 big ones that could have an appearance here. But like looking at this list right now, I named them. So we got the ACC, we have the Mountain West, we have the Big 12, the Big Ten, and the SEC.
Nice. Love it.
And there's more, there's Conference USA. There are still more. Obviously, there's a lot of colleges here in the US of A.
But I think it's cool to go to this. What do we got? Like a 12-team format where you get the bye just like NFL, and then a couple teams get to battle it out for a chance. And it's always been interesting to me how it works though, because it's literally just a committee, right? Like there's not really a point system. It's very odd how they come to the decision.
It is. I mean, they have a tough job. They have a hard job to select teams. Having 12 teams in the league really makes it a little bit easier for them. For Boise State to only lose one game. So Boise State does not play a strong schedule. They lost one game this year, a close game to Oregon, who was their toughest test by far. But other than that, they didn't really play anybody other than that, So it's very tough for the selection committee. I think they got it right, in my personal opinion. I think they got it right this year. But even if it was a 16 team
and Boise
State, Boise State is the Bronco down there at number 3.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So, there's always going to be an argument whether there's 25 teams, 24.
Non-knowledgeable I am in college football stuff, but it's just like you Americans probably don't know a thing about CFL. It's kind of a same thing. But I want to get the only thing I ever know about college is who the best rookies are coming in. And I want to expand my knowledge. So I appreciate this. And I'm sure listeners do too that aren't as dialed in.
So I would suggest that I think you should pick a team. I think you should say, I'm going to follow Ohio State. Don't pick Ohio State. Screw them. But I'm going to follow Ohio State, and they're going to be my team. And then just go with them. Follow them all next season. Learn to love them, love everything about them, and have a good time, man. Because college football, there's nothing like it. I was talking to my wife. We went to a TCU game the other day, where we live in Dallas. Within 3 hours of us, there's Baylor, TCU, Texas A&M, Texas, SMU, Oklahoma State. Like, we go to so many games, and college football atmospheres are like nothing I've ever experienced before. So I know I'm going to hit a lot of college games next year. Hopefully you can come down and hit one with me.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd like to come go party, get into some tailgate and have a good old time. It'd be a fun one for sure. Don't forget, we're going to rip this bad boy too in a little bit. Looking forward to that at the end of the show. And obviously getting dialed in on this college stuff. But should we give some predictions? Who's taking it all? Quick, and then we'll roll on.
Yeah, so we got the Oregon Ducks sitting at number 1. I just don't think that they have enough to get it done. It's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be between Georgia and probably, I don't even know. It's so tough. It is so tough. I like Georgia. I like Georgia to win it all. I'd like to see SMU go far. I think SMU, if they can get by Penn State, I think they can get by Boise State as well and see Georgia in the semifinal. However, that's going to be a tough test for them.
I'm going to go with the team. I didn't even know their logo, Boise State. They're going to upset Georgia. Ohio State going to come in, upset the Oregon Ducks. Going to be Ohio, Boise. Boise's going to win it all.
Dude,
so Bushleague Sports.
That would be the upset of the century for Boise State to win it. And I would love to see that, man. They got this running back who is, he might be the Heisman winner. Who knows? His name is Ashton Genty. He's an absolute monster. The guy runs downhill all the way, 200 yards from scrimmage every single game. Guy's an absolute beast. He'll be the first running back off the board. So man, if they could do it, it would be amazing.
I love it. Well, thanks for the breakdown. Appreciate it. Get your picks in, and with that, we're going to also be not in the coming weeks, sometime here, maybe close to the New Year or sometime in the New Year, kind of giving some information out too. We'll be launching some drafts in the New Year. I know we're going to be filling a playoff hockey draft. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be kind of one of the first drafts I'm filling when we launch the new website format in the New Year, and just maybe have to get some college stuff going on in there too. That'll be fun.
Yeah, college pick'em, something like that would be dope for sure.
Well, fantasy is always a big one that helps me learn everything, right? That's how I learned baseball, football, fantasy, because I'm just such a competitive guy. Once I'm in, I'm like, I got to learn everything now so I can win it. Cool. Well, I want to. We talked about it earlier, but I want to break down the call in the play that got Matt Eberflus fired. Before we move on, we're going to a little bit of hockey. I just want to break that down. I think that it was, everybody was talking about how it's his fault. It's 100% his problem. He should have called the timeout. He never should have let it get there. I don't know your thoughts on it, but I don't know if you got a take. And
do you want to hear my take before you show it?
100%.
I went hard in the paint on X on Twitter right after blaming Caleb Williams. I was very dramatic in my posts on this is on Caleb Williams. However, Caleb Williams is a rookie quarterback on a not so strong team in the NFL. He's doing his best out there. That's why you have a coach with two hands, a coach standing next to the ref. Call timeout. Call timeout. You have a rookie quarterback out there who is, trying to process what's happening. He's trying to change the play on the line of scrimmage when there's 9 seconds left on the clock. Call timeout. Kick a freaking field goal. What are we doing?
No, that's fair, and I respect that take. And I guess I want to play it through and kind of maybe chat about it a little bit and just kind of. I hope I recorded enough of it to give the people what we want. I want to watch this. We got 36 seconds here, and so honestly, I'm gonna pause it right there for a second because at 36 seconds, right? So if we go,
there's 2 plays right here, right? We're gonna see 2 plays with 36, I believe.
Oh, where was now it took the view away from us. How did I have it? Here, I'll go like this. Now we got it. There we go. But so we're 2nd and 20 on this play, right? 36 seconds left here, right? And they've just taken a timeout prior to this. So this isn't
no rush.
Not necessarily a rush. They've talked going into this moment, right? Like this is coming out of a timeout. So in my humble opinion, and I could be wrong, and the one thing I don't think any of us know, but I would think as a coach, you're going into this telling your player, hey, we're on 2nd down here. We got 36 seconds. Like no matter what, we got to make you got to make a play and quickly get the ball, get back to the line for 3rd down. No matter what you do, it's a quick play. Get back to the line as fast as you can for 3rd down. From there, we got to quickly make a play. If you can get out of bounds, great. If you can't get out of bounds, I'm going to call a timeout. I'm sure you go through all the motions of what you want your quarterback to do. And when we watch this, I kind of want to break down why I really do think it's on Caleb Williams, because I'm sure that he chatted about the player with all of those things going into it, right?
Sure. And in that time, you're calling 2 or 3 plays. In that timeout, they're calling the next 2 or 3 plays. They're calling 1 play and then have 2 plays to follow it up, depending on the defense that they see, right? It's not just the initial play. So let's watch it.
And so we're 2nd down, 20. No, sack. That sucks. It's horrible. Get up. Get the line. You got to get moving. That's number 1, right? So right here, you got one of the players. Let's get going. Caleb Williams is kind of going it. So if I'm the coach, I'm going, okay, my player's going to get up the line. He's going to do his thing. We got to get out of scope the lane. That's it.
Timeout. Look, he's taking his time. That was 5 seconds between when they were ready and.
And so this is where I really want to break it down, because you're saying timeout right there, right?
I'm saying if I'm the coach and I see the clock ticked to 12, 13 seconds, I got to call timeout, because I know that it's over. It's over, especially if he's throwing a ball like that.
And so in my mind, and if I can, I'll bring this back up.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
In my mind, right here, you're out of field goal range. So if you take a timeout, you have to kick a field goal. What else are you going to do? Are you going to risk it now? If you can't trust your quarterback to take 36 seconds and make a play, then you darn well can't trust them to take a timeout and make 10 seconds and have a field goal. Like how you can't. If you can't trust them with 30, then you definitely can't trust them with 10. You're out of field goal range. You have to make a play. That's where to me, that's actually the big difference, because no, you're not in his range. Get in range. You've got to make a play, and you've had that freaking talk. There's no way you haven't had it.
I agree. So this is Caleb Williams. What other routes are they running here? Because he's got to run like somebody's got to run like an out route right there. He's not even looking. He's not even looking for that route that he should be looking for, right? Why are we looking for the long ball over the middle with even 15, 20 seconds left when you need to get out of bounds or stop the clock? You know, I don't know.
And let's watch this here too, because if I'm Matt Eberflus, so you're like, he's about to call a play. Wait, what the hell is he doing? Oh, no, he's about to play. Oh, wait, what's he doing? Oh, he's going to, like, there are so many times where you're like, you're about to snap it, but I'm like, oh, no, he's about to do it. Oh no.
So I want to see it one more time from the beginning. Let's watch it one more time from the beginning, because as you were saying, he needs to call timeout when he sees him trying to change the play at the line, when he's just not moving fast enough. I agree that Caleb Williams is somewhat at fault, but Eberflus has to step in and call timeout. That's my opinion. I definitely understand your argument. I definitely do, that they're out of field goal range right now. However, you might have, if he calls a timeout with 15 seconds left, you definitely have time for two plays. You definitely have time for two plays. And one of those plays can be an out route to catch the ball, to get into field goal range and get out of bounds. And if it's not, your kicker tries to kick what would that be, a 55-yarder, something like that? And maybe it was further. I don't know.
And I guess that's a fair take. It's one of those things where I don't necessarily agree, because I think that you're out of field goal range. If you can't, again, it just comes back to, he had 36 seconds. You got to trust him with that more than giving him 15 seconds that he's going to get it out. And even when he snapped the ball at 7 seconds, you do any play but airball it for 7 seconds. We just listened tonight on the broadcast on the game of Brady talking about what, I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the end of the Bills-Rams game?
I watched it. I didn't listen. I watched it.
7 seconds left, and Brady's talking about, hey, if there's about 5-6 seconds left, what I would do, because they're up 44, 42, 2 points, probably snap the ball and really try to walk back, kill 2-3 seconds, and airball that. You can kill about 5-6 seconds with an airball. Now that there's 7, he literally said, with 7 seconds on the clock, probably maybe going to punt, try and go out of the end zone, make sure they can't return it, blah, blah, blah. And the punt ended up just taking 7 seconds, ending the game, right? But how do you make a 7-second play after you snap the ball as well? Because as a coach too, you got to think that, like, okay, throw this. And if because you're sitting there too. What if Caleb Williams throws this and a guy catches it? Like, you've got your timeout still, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. He could have done anything but what he did. And I'm putting 97% fault. If we had like a meter, I would put 97% fault on Caleb Williams.
No, I appreciate that. And I'm going the opposite. I'm putting 97% on the coach. You got a rookie quarterback. You got to take control. You got to take control of that situation, even though it was a situation where there were no good answers, right? At least, I mean,
I respect it.
He was getting fired at the end of the season anyway, but he got fired for that play. Fired for that play. I don't know if they'll admit it, but that's 100% a fact.
Yeah, no, and it is what it is. Well, we want to move on to a little hockey.
Let's do a little hockey, man. Let's do a little hockey.
Sweet. Well, I know we got a big one that's been rolling across the screen a couple of times, but our boy McDavid hits 1,000 points. That's obviously a huge milestone, and a big congrats to him. That's a huge one to hit. 1,000-point club is massive, and doing it fast too. I can't remember. Geez, I should know the stat, but like in great company with how fast he hit the mark as well.
Yeah, Gretzky, Lemieux, those big dogs, and not that any of us are surprised him hitting 1,000. It's this kid's gonna have an unbelievable career. It's such a joy to watch him. We'll be watching him soon with Team Canada and the Four Nations. I'm sure we'll see him in the Olympics here next year as well. I'm excited to watch this kid's career.
I'm with you. And as always, we're going to bring up Daily Faceoffs, my favorite app, or I guess website to use for getting my fantasy sports week to week, man games, and everything else dialed in. But this week we got, I think it's around 8 or 9 teams that are playing 4 games this week. Anaheim, Buffalo, Chicago, Columbus, Minnesota, New York, St. Louis, and Tampa are all or sorry, Toronto, not Tampa, are all playing 4 games this week. Our team to avoid is looking like the Caps early in the week. Obviously, as always, not dropping Ovi or the big dogs, but Ovi's not playing anyway, so maybe you are. Who's to say? But 4 games this week. Dallas Stars, too, team to avoid. I'll maybe dump Dadanov if you want to run him next week. You can have him, buddy. And we'll go from there. But so you, like, for you, have you been playing into the man game strategy a little bit, or
I have. I'll tell you what, I've been doing poorly the last 2 weeks. It's a lot of work. You and I have talked about it in the past. It's a lot of work to manage a fantasy NHL roster, especially in a larger league where there aren't very many players available, and you're really looking to key in on certain guys. So I have not been doing a great job of it this season or the last couple of weeks, but man, is it fun? Is it awesome? And it's a really cool experience to go in here and really be analytical about it and using Daily Faceoff. Shout out to Daily Faceoff. What they give you from a line combinations perspective. Like I'll go in there and look at who's on what power play unit. So
I was just trying to take a peek at if Trouba was on the boys, because I know you wanted to chat about the Trouba.
Oh, yeah, we definitely got to talk about Trouba, but I'll look at who's on what power play unit. Like you'll find now that Dadanov is playing on the second power play unit for the Stars, and it's absolutely wild for you to kind of see that. So I don't know if they have him on here, but he is on the second power play lineup now. So
yeah, no, he's obviously been a staple on my fantasy lineup. Great guy to have. Real great addition. Just really upping the locker room chemistry, right? Like the Dunleith Dancing Dogs, one of the most feared fantasy hockey teams ever to really truly play. One of the greatest fantasy win records in history. Just real great addition of Jenny Dadanov to my fantasy roster.
Yeah, Daddy. We call him Daddy. Glad he's there. Glad he's there. Anyway, no, it's been good.
Right. Like it's an amazing tool for fantasy, right? Like sometimes when you're sitting between like who should I pick up, when you've really broke down what you've decided what team you're going to pick a guy from, or maybe there's obviously just a standout player that's really good. That might be the guy you want to roster or whatever. But like once you break it down, you might go and look. Oh, I got 2 different players to choose from. You can break it down, see who's on the second line or power play, etc. I mean, like I said, that's a huge one I do going into drafts as well. But this week, I think that the guys that we're really looking towards for myself is Anaheim. Anaheim's my team to try to snipe some guys from this week. I know we had the trade Trouba going over to join in Anaheim. Honestly, not a team I expected him to go to, because I don't really see Anaheim as a team that's playing for anything this year, and I see Trouba as a really good player, so it intrigues me.
Yeah, you think about that locker room, what was going on in that locker room. Obviously Trouba, the captain for the Rangers. What was going on in that locker room? We heard the GM of the Rangers a couple weeks ago saying that there were going to be changes. And then you think of the cap situation as they're coming up towards the playoffs. Who are they going to be looking for? What was Trouba's cap hit? How much does it open up for them to, sign somebody like Shesterkin, who they just picked up for that $11.5 million for 8 years?
Biggest contract in goalie history too. $100,000 more than Draisaitl. You think he's worth more than Draisaitl?
$100,000 more than Draisaitl?
Isn't Draisaitl 11.4? Wasn't that his, or am I fried?
No, 14. Draisaitl's 14.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Draisaitl's got a big one. And then we're going to see McDavid sign for $15 million next year, something absurd. So, yeah.
9.7. You think he'll give the Crosby special?
That would be the coolest if he did that. If he did that, it would be absolutely. There's no way he's letting Draisaitl make more than him. It would be funny if that was possible, because the Crosby and Malkin, right? You got Draisaitl and McDavid. It's kind of very similar. I would say back in the day, Crosby and Malkin were like Draisaitl and David. There was the 2-headed monster in Pittsburgh. Malkin came in as this Russian who was the best of the best coming from where he came from, him and Ovi. And Malkin, Crosby got all this love and Malkin really didn't, but Malkin kind of took it to heart, and Malkin made more money than Crosby most of his career. If you go to a Penguin game, Malkin is always the last one on the ice. It's not Crosby, it's Malkin. Malkin is the last one on the ice because Malkin had always been the last one on the ice.
Crosby probably like $100 million early on in his career from sponsorship deals and stuff like that.
Oh, sure. 100%. 100%. You don't see Malkin in many commercials. You see Crosby in every single commercial.
Canada's wonderful. He's Wonder Boy.
Captain, team captain, Team Canada captain right there in Crosby.
Nice. But yeah, no. So for me this week, Anaheim's the play, and for me, it just because you're getting those 4 games in 6 days, always a big one for me. So I'd be looking to pick up some of the deeper players that are going to be sitting available. Like you probably can get an Alex Killorn or a guy like you say, maybe Gudas. Trouba's probably not available, but Gudas is there. Cam Fowler's a good defensive play that'll be sticking around for most of the week. And then, maybe a guy like Sam Colliano or Mason McTavish that are playing on that second power play and are guys that are probably ready available in most leagues. Those are the players that I'm looking to pick up this week, as well as potentially, Dostal's been good. I actually just dropped him in the league. I'll probably be picking him back up. I shouldn't have dropped him. But Dostal, Gibson, if either are available, they're playing 4 games this week. There's a back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see them split 2 games apiece too this week.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And from a fantasy goalie perspective, that's where it gets interesting. There's only so many goalies in the league, so many teams in your fantasy league. So finding a goalie is a challenge, especially.
Go ahead. So I know I was just gonna say, especially in our 14-team league, because everybody's rostering 2 to 3 goalies. Well, in 14-team league, that's 28 goalies, which is almost every starting goalie in the NHL is for sure rostered. A lot of them are guys you don't want to start because they're not on good teams, or maybe they're not playing that well, etc. And we're probably 36 to 40 goalies deep in our league, which is more like you have to be looking for backups a lot of times if you want to get those extra stats and those extra wins, because our league is it's deep with the 14 team and the roster we have.
So let me give you a little fantasy alpha right now. Scott Wedgwood is now started the year in Nashville. He was the Stars backup last year, but he was a great backup. He is in Colorado now. Colorado has struggled with goaltending all season long. Be on the lookout for Scott Wedgwood to get some solid playing time in Colorado. If he's available in your league and you're struggling in the goalie position, looking at Scott Wedgwood to be a backup for you for your fantasy league would be a good pickup, in my opinion.
I'm honestly surprised you haven't rostered DeSmith yet. I've been watching him all year, thinking about just rostering him just to play him against you guys this week too. I'm surprised he let him go. He was playing pretty good earlier in the season.
Yeah, he's playing well. The Stars this year are probably not as strong as a lot made them out to be, as strong as I hope they'd be. However, they're still, top 3 in the division. Casey DeSmith is proving to be a strong backup to Jake Ottinger. I picked him up in my I'm in another hockey league with the Dusters. So I picked him up for a couple games, and he's performed well. So he's another one to kind of look out for when Otter is on the bench.
Love it. Well, no, I love the fantasy breakdown. Hopefully gets a couple people a few extra wins this week and dials them in, and then obviously shouts all the big fantasy performers this week, like guys like Josh Allen, a lot of the Detroit guys, and a few late performers. Addison with a huge game as well. I know we actually gave all the credit to Darnold and Jefferson, but Addison was the man earlier. We kind of skipped over that, so that was Bushleague of us to leave out the top wide receiver of the week. But I think we're gonna wrap it up with maybe ripping a little pack, as we always do. What are your thoughts on that?
Dude, I love ripping a pack. Can I talk a little? I'm going to talk a little bit of shred while you rip the pack, if that's okay.
Yeah, give us the sassy shred report to wrap.
Yeah, let me give you a little sassy shred report as we go off into the sunset here. We're right in the start of the winter season and winter competition. Our boy Nick Gepper. He was on the Thrash Talk podcast with myself and my co-host Keith Gable earlier this year, recently switched from to half pipe skiing. Nick just won this weekend in China, the first World Cup event in US ski half pipe. So shout out to Nick on the big dub over in China this past weekend. We are doing a pretty awesome sassy meetup here coming up that I'm really excited about as well. We had a sassy meetup coming in Tahoe on December 30th. Myself and Jacoby Boyer, one of the sassy community members, is going to come, and we're going to shred, have a good time up in Lake Tahoe. It's Tahoe North Star Mountain Resort. Man, I can't speak today. We'll be at North Star Mountain Resort on
there's one
December.
for you.
Oh, Naj. Is that Naj?
Yeah, you want that bad boy?
Let's go. Let's go. Send it to me. I'm here. I shared it. I think I
Yeah,
shared it.
oh, did you share it? Yeah, make sure. Hey, yeah, we forgot. We were getting so deep into it. We forgot to tell everybody. We'll give this packaway and the show to someone who likes and shares. If nobody does, and Trav's the only one, well, it's his.
Yee. Anyway, meet us in Tahoe. We'll be up there, North Star, on December 30th, getting some shredding in. Jacoby, myself, and whoever else from the Sassy community wants to meet us, from the Bush League sports community wants to meet us and have a good time. Dude, other than that, who else you got in this pack?
Well, we got little Kirk Cousins. I said he's going to win, so we know that's true. We got our I think this is actually going to be the special one for the pack, so I don't know if we got anything too wild, but just a Tyler Scott for Sean Johnson, round 4.
Yee.
And then whatever this bad boy is. Oh, I see it. It's upside down. I see what it is, though. Zay Flowers, a rookie card, Panini rookie contender, right? Is that a rookie? Yeah, it's a rookie stallion. I got a couple of those already in the collection. Yeah, nothing too wild. Not a crazy pull, but a nice little rookie card. Zay Flowers been having a great season. Yeah. Honestly, one of the big reasons why Lamar's been doing so good, I think, because Zay's been a pretty outstanding receiver for him this year.
Absolutely.
But anybody, you can see any cards in there you like? Anyone you want? These Panini, contender rookie cards, not crazy valuable, probably only like a $10, $15 card, but you never know. Maybe Zay Flowers is electric down the stretch, and PSA that baby, cash in. Let's go.
Get it in a sleeve. Get it in a sleeve, brother.
I should have. I don't have them near me. I should have had them ready. That said, I just noticed there's I was just gonna say this Kirk Cousins the most valuable card, but look at it. Can you see there's this crazy line on it? Oh, I don't know if you can. Oh yeah, see, look right in between his legs.
Can't see it.
Oh, okay, I could see it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But dude, man, I love the card rips. I think we got to get back to a couple hockey card rips. I might be biased. I'm a fan. I like the look. You're having some fun. Man, you got all kinds of hockey cards behind you. I'm excited for next year. I think that you're building this out to be something really cool, and I'm stoked to be a part of it with you. We've been doing this now for about 2 years, so it's been fun.
Sure, rip one. Well, yeah, because I guess that's the big thing that I want to do is next year what we're going to be doing is we're going to be launching draft and rip. So you're going to be able to buy in. We're going to have all kinds of different packs of cards. I got a lot of stuff stashed, some normal packs, some retail, some hobby, all kinds of different stuff. But the plan is to be able to buy into different leagues and be able to rip packs and do the drafts. We're already paying, like, say you're doing a $50 league with your buddies or $100 league or whatever it might be. You're already doing that. So basically we're just offering the option to have pack rips. Maybe you get something cool at the start of it. Come sit down, join us live. You just kind of be part of a fantasy sports community is what we're trying to do, right? And so with hockey, football, different sports, we'll be able to sit down, do some drafts, rip some packs, and have all kinds of fun. So I think that's something that's going to be fun. Kind of get your collectibles up and get in some drafts, make some new friends to draft with, and I think it'll be a cool thing we're going to launch in the new year here.
You know what we didn't talk about that there's old Matt Dumba, huh? That we got to get into eventually.
Oh, there's something there. There's something there. We're gonna move it to the back. Go ahead, though.
I was gonna say, yeah. Sorry, what we were gonna talk about eventually is Biz putting the Bush League beatdown on. Oh, Cole Caulfield, Goal Caulfield is what we're calling him. We're calling him Goal Caulfield because he's putting the pucks in the net this season. But Biz getting that. Biz putting the Bush League beatdown on those 6. What are they? Irish Travelers in Scottsdale a couple weeks ago, and that's just such a wild story. And he's going hard on him in the paint, man. And then
I thought you were gonna say that Brad Marchand put the Bush League beat
down. I was getting to that. And those guys going back and forth, man. It's so funny, man. NHL on TNT, what Biz has done. I'm going to say what Biz has done for hockey broadcasting is absolutely amazing. It's so fun. Not broadcasting, be a pundit. It's been a blast, man. It's been an absolute blast. Who do we got here?
And we had Vincent Trocheck,
Kirby Bach,
and then here's the Dumba. So what are we going to pull here? Should I pull it up front?
I like on that third screen's great too, man. You got it's perfect. Yeah, that's better. The view's better.
Oh, okay. But my face is then just up front. I got to get it better.
Okay, yeah. Let me just get a longer arm. That might work.
Yeah, that could work too.
Austin Matthews. Uh-oh.
Could this
Ice in their veins.
This seems like it's sick. What we got?
Oh,
That's got to be like a rare something. There's like a snowflake, like
oh, I see it there. Yeah, in the lower right.
the whole like his pant legs and everything. It's all like.
Oh, yeah.
Here, let's go. Let's move it to main man here. We got an Austin Matthews pull bay. Look at what we could get today if someone's sharing this bad boy. That's sick. But yeah, look at it. Ice in the veins. There's like a whole snow thing going on there.
That's a dope one.
I don't think
it's got icicles on the top too.
I don't think it's a numbered card though, so it's probably not crazy, but it's a very cool card. Really, really cool card.
Love it, man. Love it.
Share, give it a retweet. We'll send her out. We got a pack of hockey cards going out to my buddy Trav, right? Who, whenever the Canadian post office opens, maybe never. And we'll get her out. But no, it's been a great show. I appreciate it. And I know we're going to dive a little more in the future weeks into what we'll be doing, the drafts and etc. But she's been a fun show. She's getting late. So I think we'll call her.
Yeah, dude. Sorry again for my sickness. I'm hopefully I'm not holding you up too much. I'm a little stuffy, but dude, it's been a blast, man. The college football playoffs. I can't even speak words right now. The college football playoff is set. So stoked for the next couple of weeks. As we can move through that, I'll definitely bring you updates as I can. And we're coming into fantasy football playoffs this coming week. Playoffs start. So hopefully you got a bye in your league. If you did not, bring your game face because we're ready to go.
Tweets because we have one more week left in the Friends Fantasy League with our communities: Bushleague, Shredding Sassy, Vayner Sports, Accutars, Not Okay Bears, Bam Bam Fitness. So there's been one or two teams, one team eliminated. We're battle for that last spot. And then we're going to go into a 4-team playoff week 16, 17. I'm going to announce all the prizes through the last 8 weeks and all kinds of cool stuff coming this week. And we're going to get the hype going into the last 3 weeks of that league. So I want to give a shout out to all those communities. Accutars is crushing it and stoked to see how this league all wraps up.
Dude, I love it, man. I love the engagement. I love the fun. Stoked, man. It's just been a blast. So thank you very much for having me on as always. And we'll see you next week, man.
Peace as always, brother. Appreciate you. We'll catch you next week.
Yes, sir.
We'll catch you guys too next week. Tune in the new year. We'll be launching the new site. Make sure you tune in. You can be getting a nice, I looked at a camera that's not even on right now. You could be getting some ice in your veins next week. You never know. And get you dialed in on the first week of fantasy football. We spend our whole lives waiting for fantasy football season. It comes, it goes fast. The playoffs are here. This is what it was all for. So next week, we will lock you in. Stay tuned to our Twitter. We're going to tell you the players to pick up, the players to start, and the studs you might want to bench next week. We'll catch you next week. Next week. I said it like 3 times in a row. May as well make it 27. Later. Stay bushy, you beauties.
From the bottom, ain't no half-stepping. I'm the dog, I made it through so they don't ask questions. Long Beach, and it ain't no half-repping. Once a dog, always a dog, so they don't ask questions. From the bottom, ain't no half-stepping. I'm the dog, I made it through so they don't ask questions. Long Beach, and it ain't no half-repping. Once a dog, always a dog, so they don't ask questions. Tell them never question, dog, I'm sitting ghost status. Eating chicken with my gin, smoking on some cabbage. Used to pedal on this
moment where you skate down the street and some shit for brain yells out of his window, "Do a kickflip! Do a kickflip! Do a kickflip!"
Rags and house shoes, they know how the dog do. Skinny, heavy pockets, the West OG. Came across the globe, say they don't know me. Been applying pressure from 8 to 24 like Kobe. Mr. Hall of Fame used to bend the corners for strollies. Had to lay the blueprint, they rolled out the carpet. Anything I wanna own, I got my own market. Blew this, blew that, everything beautiful. Still ain't sold my guns and I still ain't had to use them though. Was once a hard head, now I'm counting blessings. I made my own way, still they don't ask questions. From the bottom, ain't no half-stepping. I'm the dog, I made it through so they don't ask questions. Long Beach, and it ain't no half reppin'. Once a dog, always a dog, so they don't ask questions.
This is some straight. Hey, hey, hey.
This is, oh gosh.
I got thin to smoke it.
Once a dog, always a dog, so they don't ask questions. I can't name a thing that I didn't have step. From the streets to movie screens, been getting bags and checks. Get the solid, you won't hear me with no bad rep. Legendary Crippin' made it happen, and that's on the set. Still rolling on gold things, I'm a boss.
Go get it. What the fuck you waiting on, man? Let's go.
Blaming on my mom from all the crippin' I see. Blaming on my grip, all the hustling.
Yes, sir.